Welcome to the Crypto Podcast. You can find all our episodes on thecryptopodcast.org. My guest from New York in the USA. He's the founder and CEO of Novospir, an innovative gaming ecosystem that introduces a groundbreaking new genre of massively multiplayer social puzzle games. With extensive experience in digital assets from his tenure at Credit Suisse, where he led digital asset markets technology. He's now focused on transforming the gaming industry. Novospir's debut game, Stack the Pixels, exemplifies his vision of integrating secure, fair, and engaging gameplay with unique digital and non-digital game currencies. Please welcome Yaakov Sash.
Oh, thank you so much, Roy. It's a pleasure to be here.
No, I'm actually looking forward to this because uh, as I was doing my research, when I was younger, one of my friends we bought we had a Spectrum 48K, he had a ZX81, and he was actually programming. So I remember actually doing the pixels when we were writing games ourselves, and it was 8 by 8, so 64 little boxes. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then I kind of heard your story that your own little game. So I thought, well, let's kind of start off at the younger you and how the whole lot kind of began.
So yeah, it's like funny. I remember I started programming when I was 10 years old, and my dad was bought us our first computer, which was a TI 99 4A computer, and we couldn't afford, he couldn't afford two games, so the choice was either Donkey Kong or Pac-Man. And those are the two classic games of the day. And my siblings, brothers, they all insisted on Donkey Kong. I wanted Pac-Man, um, and they won out. So I was very like disappointed. And for some reason, at a young age, this was before the internet, was popular, right before the web. But I always knew I wanted a program. Like I had, known about computers, big science fiction geek, and so when we got home, I was like, okay, I'm gonna program my own Pac-Man game. And I remember doing this 8 by 8. It was sprites. That was the lingo then. And You basically had to have like a graph paper and do it. And I remember just feeling like a god, like I was busy building something and creating it and like on my own. Like I was just all powerful. I was just 10 years old, but I was so powerful because I can create something from nothing. And it was just so much fun. And basically I just started to write games and I just loved it.
So, I mean, it's amazing how our path seems to be lined out and it all comes back to kind of, but your journey then with the kind of blockchain was Credit Suisse the first kind of introduction to blockchain for you?
Yeah, so basically what really happened there was that like I was really into games and I love that. Um even before I got to college, I was already writing programs for small businesses because that's where the money was. Like I didn't feel like I had like a distribution for games. Like where's the market? So I was writing programs for small businesses and it was called D-Base was the name of the program then that was very popular for business applications. There's something called Fox Pro, and I was writing that, and then I got basically poached by Wall Street. So even before I graduated college, I think I was like 18, 19 years old, I started working for Merrill Lynch as a consultant on the trading floor, and I was starting to build trading systems. And the truth is, a lot of these things share a lot of commonalities with games because they're all about. I mean, people look at Wall Street as the world's biggest casino because and that's what people thought of it like before crypto. Like crypto is definitely now the world's biggest casino. Well, scam. I would say it's probably a rigged casino is that's the crypto world. At least Wall Street is a regulated casino in a sense. Um, So, but yeah, but I loved it. I loved the excitement of the trading floor, and I loved, being able to build, code. I was a little kid still, relatively speaking, you know, and I was on the trading floor with traders, building complex systems. It was just a lot of fun. So I did that for many years. Moved down from one bank to another bank, and then in about 2000, probably 16, 17, there was a big crypto bull market, and I'm like, okay, my next job is only going to be in blockchain. And that's where I was. I was at Credit Suisse, and I got a good opportunity to build some POCs for them within the blockchain space, tokenizing real world assets and focusing more on the regulated side of the house, right? More than a little bit, doing some experiments in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stuff like that, but really focus on the real world assets. But in that position, I was basically responsible there for overseeing a lot of digital asset markets. So, and that encompasses the entire crypto world. And it was my job to keep tabs on that, to see what was going on, and to see how would that relate to Credit Suisse. And one thing that was very interesting to me was the rise of the crypto games, and because as a kid I was very I used to program my own games and very into the whole gaming market. And of course, just like any other adult, you play games on your phone, and even if you're not a big time gamer, but you're exposed to it. And so I was very aware of the market, and it really bothered me how the crypto basically market was taking advantage of these players, with the rise of the play to earn, which was, I felt, very, very, very scammy, and people really lost their shirts in that. And now they came back with a new thing called tap to earn, which we can speak more, we can speak about that as well, which they've made it better, but it's going to have the same terrible ending for a lot of people. So yeah, it's definitely it's been a journey for myself, and now fully focused on. I basically left with Credit Suisse, a mutual agreement. UBS bought them, and there was a lot of, and the US team was amazing. I love working with them, but this was something. This is where my passion was, and I thought this was a good opportunity to get back into the gaming world, and to continue on my blockchain journey, but to help improve um, what was what is out there. Your credit Suisse and banks are not really focused on this space. Obviously, gaming is not really a focus of theirs, but this is definitely a huge, huge market.
And with kind of the existing systems then and the scams going on, because I know that there's even games where they're hiring people in the East to play and that they're making money from them, but sometimes the people that are doing that kind of get cute and realize and sell the assets themselves. But there seems to be a lot of I don't know, kind of fraudulent activities connected with the game. So I mean, with your experience, you might kind of let people know what's going on.
Yeah, it's really it's so tempting. Like, we all get tempted. I'm tempted myself. I mean, I have to use all my self-control not to just say it's just a few $100. It's just this, and then justify and say, listen, you see this a lot now with the meme coins. The meme coins are gonna have they are gonna crash, terribly as well. Like every market does at some point. But if there's nothing, fundamental within a market, for example, if you look at, traditional stocks like, GameStop, you know, GameStop was the first meme stock, if you will, right? And, at some point, if the value isn't there, right, it's going to go back to what it's really worth. And at least GameStop is a real company, right? So they you can see that there's some, the- they have revenue, there's investments, right? There's a possibility that they could make some money someday. But if you're buying it as a meme coin, then you're taking a huge risk because the value isn't there. You're not buying it because of the true fundamentals of the value. You're buying it because somebody else would buy it from you. So, but you're looking at the meme coin market now, especially in Solana, it became huge, and people are putting down $1,000, and they're a millionaire, a day or two later, which is insane. But what's really going on there is that 99.9999% of the people are losing their shirt. And there's 0.001 people are becoming millionaires. And those are the people that are behind the scenes, pulling the strings. Like they're the ones, like they're not the ones who are randomly getting lucky, right? Because to get lucky here, you need to be betting on the right coin. And there are thousands, tens of thousands of these coins every day. So you have to bet on the right coin, and you have to bet on the to buy in and to cash out. People forget about that. People think, oh, I'm going to buy in and I'm going to know when to cash out. No, you will not know when to cash out because no one does. Even the best investors, even Warren Buffett, does not know when to cash out the right time. And he's been on record where he's made mistakes. He cashed out too early or cashed out too late. And that's the world's best investor. So if you think you're going to be a better investor. You just got into crypto and you're going to outvest all the people that have been doing this for 10, 15 years. You're sadly mistaken. So, what they say is that if you go to a casino and and you sit down to play poker, and I remember when I was 21 and I went for my first time to a casino and I was, and I had studied all the books and I knew what to do, right? And you're coming in there and you think you're going to be the smartest one at the table. But the rule is that if you don't know who is the sucker at the table, if you don't know who that is, it's you. So if you're getting into crypto, if you don't know who the sucker is, it's you. So it's good lessons there to take home and to be really, really careful. And I'm not saying people should experiment and learn. It's all good things, but just know when you're going to be. Just don't think you're going to be the one that's going to become the millionaire. You're going to lose your money. Yeah, you learn a lesson, and that's good, right? But just experiment with small amounts of money.
Like with the addiction then, because I mean it's done with all the social media to get us totally addicted, but a lot of the games are doing it as well. And like when we're adults, it's one thing, but when they're targeting very young children to get them addicted, and not only get them addicted, but to actually make them be making purchases constantly, it's kind of how it's allowed is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, loot boxes is and I'm very again. It's funny because I actually first thought about a lot of these things are interrelated, but the mobile game market is not it's better than the crypto game market by far. Like at least the games are fun. Like let's be honest. Like the game publishers know in theory how to make fun games. They have been trying to monetize, those games to the point where now they're becoming not fun. But at one point they were fun, right? And now they're making players grind and do all these things and loot boxes. And basically it's all coming down to a pay to win. So pay to win is really unfair for players because what it does is it basically and it's all psychological. The game publisher, right, designs their game so that when you get out or when you're having a problem, they incentivize you to spend money. Now, Candy Crush is a great game. People love it. And they do this. When you get to a game to a level, you don't know if it's possible to win that level or not. In fact, some levels are not possible to win. And Candy Crush does it. They have a very powerful algorithm. They actually have a random board every time you do a level, it becomes random. So you don't realize that it's not possible because every time the configuration is changing. So you think, hey, it was just me that I couldn't solve it last time, but this time I can solve it. And eventually you just get frustrated, you just give up. Now, it's possible it was not every time, but it's all mathematical, so they know how difficult to make every level so that, people, spend money. And that's how they make money, but it's really is taking advantage of players to a certain extent. Not as bad as crypto. I don't want there's different degrees of things that are being done, but I do think that loot boxes fit into that category. And loot boxes again, it's worse than what Candy Crush is doing because loot box is completely random, completely you know trying to convince again like kids are the ones that are the worst abusers of that is to basically spend money to get a loot box. And that's completely random. There's no strategy there. There's no okay, you're a better player, worse player. It's just basically saying, it's just tapping into the part of our brain into dopamine, the part that our brains like to gamble. There's a sense of excitement there. And that's something that the game market has been taking advantage of. And it's actually been legislated against in some countries, right? Some countries are working to ban and to limit that practice.
And like I understand the likes of Apple and Android, Google, basically, if you're selling an app, they're taking their cut because it's on their system and everything, and they take 30%, both of them are at 30%. But they're also taking it with when people are buying the games and stuff like that. So it's a continue. I mean, they are making
They're
milking it.
making a lot. They're making,
If
yeah.
anyone is winning on this, is the two of them. And is there ways of kind of bypassing that you take them kind of off the platform and you actually have them paying, or is that they have to?
Well, now it's actually like so they'll charge. I think there's some things that they're working to the market. So because of Epic, right? Epic has been at the forefront because they're a big company as well, and they've been attacking Apple and Google. They're taking them to court, so that's been going on and that's ongoing, and then they've been winning in some pretty significant ways. So basically, I believe Apple and Google are both like limited to 15%, I think, for the first million. So there's some. I'm not up to date exactly on those numbers, but there are some, you know, mitigation there that they are working to lessen that cost for small, indie game publishers. It doesn't help if you're a big game publisher. That's one thing. The other thing that they're doing is that they're allowing you to go off the App Store as well, so you don't have to go on the App Store. The third thing they're doing is that now you can have alternative app stores as well. So that's something that Epic is working on. But the bottom line is that that is that yes, that Apple and Google are making nice money off this game market, um, and it's not in their interest to limit that because why would they want to limit their money? I'm not saying they're doing anything overtly, they're not doing anything overtly malicious here, um, but they're not looking to basically legislate anything. And I feel that, I think that I'm not running to do legislation either. I feel that the industry as a whole, like we should look at and say, hey, we can do better. Like there are ways to monetize that are better than this. And that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a place that we can do better and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you, in many different aspects, that we can do better, and even to demonstrate how limited our imagination has been. Like we've gone down this freemium model, whatever, when after mobile phones were first invented, the iPhone and all that stuff, and then, game publishers realized that, you know, that players did not want to spend money. Like the old model was broken. so games started experimenting with freemium, and they went down that path, but they never, took a step back and say, could we do it better? Like, is there a better way to do it? And that's what, I thought of. And it's and I've actually patented, so I have some patents on this that are pending. But and I've also, so that's one aspect of what I'm doing at my startup. And then the other aspect is that the games itself, I believe, were lacking in imagination. And that's another aspect that I'm working on as well. So I'm coming in from two different aspects. And there's more here. We probably won't have enough time to delve into everything today, but if we get a good response, I can always come back and we can continue the conversation. But there's a lot here to delve into.
I mean, I know it's patent pending, but what can you tell us about the patents that what's the unique thing that you're doing?
Absolutely. So the first thing is that let's talk a little bit about the game first, because I think that's much easier to visualize. So what I think that games are became there's a few different genres, right? So you have your puzzle games on one side, games like Candy Crush, Toy Blast, and other ones like that, and then you'll have, like, on the other hand, you'll have like Fortnite, and the social aspect of it was more on the Fortnite from a gaming perspective. People will say, okay, we have Minecraft, we have there's all these different games, but those
So just
are,
for those that wouldn't know, Fortnite, because I know that from my
yeah,
son, it's like you're playing against 50 different people basically, and
exactly.
it's just, and you kind of get rewards when you come in the first, third, one, two, or three positions. So,
Exactly, but it is a little bit violent and it's a little bit difficult and challenging to play. Like, it's not like a game that you can just, it's probably, of all the shooting type games, it's probably one of the easiest ones to learn, you know, but and the violence is, gamified. It's not very, overtly violent, but it's still like you're shooting at people and people are shooting at you. And and for me as a parent, it's not like what I want to expose to my children, especially when they're young, at some point it's just inevitable. And you can't fight City Hall, but you do want to protect, kids. And definitely as an adult, I'm not looking to go around and shooting people. It's not what I enjoy doing. Um, but somehow those are our social games, right? Um, but nobody, it's like, but if I want to play a game with my family, you know, we're having a family get together or something, and you want to, take out the old, you know, and just play a game. Games, even traditional board games, are very limited. Like, you can't play more than X number of people. The Settlers of Catan is a very popular board game these days, and it's limited. You can buy expansion packs, but it limits you to what? Maybe you think the base is maybe 5 players, and you add another 3 or 4. But if you have 10 people in your family, you have to start doubling up, and it's just not the same. And it also takes time to learn these games. Like, then you have to start teaching the game to younger people, to older people. So I thought, like, wouldn't it be great if we had a new type of game that was family friendly and where everyone could play together? And that's where Stack the Pixels was born, where it's a puzzle game. So it's like it has like the match three like type of game mechanics, which is similar to like a Toy Blast or a Toon Blast, um, which is you basically tap the screen and then you basically, pixels get stacked. But what I do differently is that I allow multiple people to be on that game board at the same time. And I designed it so, as a programmer, you always design things to be scalable, but you also, from a game designer aspect, you also want that as well. So what I realized is that if I design this game right, I don't want a game that's going to end after 10 people, after 12 people, right? I want to have arbitrary limits. Limits are bad in coding, right? You want to design for no matter what's going to happen. So, well, I said, well, what if I have 100 people? What if I have 200 people? And if I can design the game in a certain way, then there's no limit. Well, maybe I can have 1 million people playing a game together. And so it's now a new genre now, right? It's a whole new thing. Um, and I look at Stack the Pixels as the Pong of this game. Like Pong, for those that don't know, you can Google it. It was the first video game. And what
Yeah,
it
I
was
had it on a black and white television in the
it was
70s.
yeah, it was basically table tennis. Very, very boring. The ball just went back and
And
forth.
you had squash and you had, I think, football as well, was on it? They had three little different games on it.
Yeah, so basically, I am trying to make it so Stack the Pixels is a lot more fun than Pong. Um, but the challenge coming from because you're playing against other human beings, and there's a challenge there. You're playing against your family, you're playing against friends, and even as you scale up to millions of players, you can physically be playing next to your family and friends on the same game board. So it's a whole new experience, and it's collaborative and it's competitive. So it's both. We will also have teams and other things so you can team up with people, play with groups. We're looking into this as a whole new market in terms of business because we have, you know, um, basically companies, need to have fun games to play, to do, basically to have something that is, team building, icebreakers, conferences. So there's a lot of, points that, you want to have a fun game for people to play and in this new model where you can have a game that can be playing with one person, two people, 10, 100, thousands, millions, eventually maybe even billions, right? Is makes it it could is really a great way because then you have it becomes like a checkers or like a tic-tac-toe where everyone knows how to play this game and it becomes like one of those games that just becomes like super popular as the first example of its kind. So I'm hoping and I'm positioning, Stack the Pixels to be like a Tetris, right? Or a Super Mario Brothers, right? Those games are just like, everyone knows what they are and they're so easy to play. And that's how I feel people will find with the Stack the Pixels.
And I mean, just for those that mightn't kind of get based on what we're saying. So if you look at each picture, it's broken up into tiny pixels. So people are working away on the little pixels. And I believe if somebody's kind of idle and not doing anything, the person that's getting it complete can actually even take over. And it's just
That's a little bit, yeah,
so like even when
absolutely,
you say about like companies, because like companies could have like say the CEO as a picture. So like if you were Amazon, you could have Jeff Bezos or even the flag or something like that, or just something fun where they're all kind of doing it, and there's rewards for people that actually complete more of the pixels. I presume like there's a numbering
absolutely,
system. Yeah.
absolutely, and you get ranked based on you can stack more pixels, um, in fewer taps, you get ranked higher. And that's what we're going to get into how we're rewarding players and how that's different than regular games, and that's very different. Um, yeah, and so think of this as a massive game board, right? And the more players there are, the larger the game board is. And so when I designed this game, I realized that I had a problem because games are monetized today based on a pay to win. So if you're playing Candy Crush and you're playing by yourself, um, you get these incentives at some point and you say, okay, I can't beat this level. I'm gonna spend money and I'm gonna get a booster and then I'll win the game, win the level, and you move on. And life is wonderful. And even if you're playing with other people that you're on level 792 and your friend is on level 845, you're not playing against them on the same level. So even though everyone knows that people can buy boosters and people can progress on the levels, but you don't feel that it's a direct competition. But if you're playing a social game, and a typical social game could be chess, right? Everyone, that's a social, it's strategy. and it's social. You're playing against another person. Imagine if the person can buy a booster and you now your queen can jump through other pieces, right? That's not fair. Like you can't get a booster and now play better on the game than me. Like we're in the same game. Now, even cheating, like people are like very like up in arms with people that are playing these games like chess and they're using, AI to cheat, right? Even that's not good. But, you know, so Stack the Pixels was designed to be a strategy game. So it's complete strategy. You can't have boosters, right? You can't allow people to basically have boosters. So that's where our game monetization comes into play. So based on my background in digital assets and in Wall Street, um, very very familiar with how money works and the psychology of money. What I realized is that from the beginning, game publishers, and this is where the game publishers took the wrong detour, that they were is that the problem is that when we played arcades, right? This is back in the day, right? When you actually had to have a quarter to play a game. And the games were all, pay to play. Like you wanted to play, you had to put money in. Very simple. And obviously that didn't work when people bought the home consoles, like, it didn't work because you don't have quarters in your house. Like, so that's where the model shifted, right? The model shifted from pay to play and it went to pay once and keep and play forever, right? And that's you bought a cartridge, you bought the game, and then when it came to mobile phones, right, then they experiment with that, pay once and play forever, and that worked for a little bit. But then, when there are millions of games on the App Store, that model quickly breaks down because if you want to get people to try your game, so then it became try to, and they basically limited games. So you would try it after X amount of game activity you would stop playing. But then players got smart. They said, I'm not going to even, my time is so valuable. I don't even want to spend time trying a game. If I know I'm going to have to pay after X amount of time, I'm not going to, why should I, my time's too valuable for that. There are so many other games out there. Why should I try your game? Then the freemium market was built. But if you look back at the original market, at the pay to play, it was such a good model because you weren't able to cheat, right? You basically, if you wanted to play, you had to pay. And so what I realized is that when games are putting up a roadblock and saying when you can run into problems and now buy a booster, what's happening is that players are not aligned with the game publishers anymore, right? The game publishers have to be sneaky and deceptive, and they have to, trick the player into spending money. And players are savvy, and they obviously they picked up on this. They picked up on the fact that they're only being incentivized to pay when there's a problem. So if you are a smart player and you consider yourself smart, what does that tell you? It tells you when you're not smart, when you're running into problems, have to spend money. So no one wants to feel not smart. No one wants to feel that they can't beat the level without the boosters. So what you have is you have most 99 point I don't know the exact stats, but like we're talking about 95 to 99% of the players will will resist as much as possible ever spending a dime on the game. Now, once in a while, they get to a level that they can't beat, and they'll buy something, but they're embarrassed. Like, no, I didn't spend money. So these games are being monetized by 1 to 5% of the players who are basically paying money for everyone. And so what you now have is that you now have this situation where the players don't want to spend money and they're proud that they didn't spend money. If you speak to to a Candy Crush player, they'll be very, very proud to tell you about how little money they spend on the game, versus someone who is willing to spend money, because they're getting enjoyment from the game. So so that's where my patent helps out. So I'm not going to give all the details of the patent, but I do want to make a point here to everyone who's listening, is that is I'm building Stack to Pixels as an example game. Like this is a whole new genre, like social puzzle games. And we took the metaphor of, match three puzzle games, tapping, because that's an easy game. But there's an unlimited number of games that can be built on a platform like this. And we want to work with other game publishers for this game. We're not looking like we feel that there's enough creativity in the game market um, that, that the game publishers can all thrive and succeed, and we're not looking to be the only game publisher in town at all. So we definitely want to work with other game publishers, both on the social aspect of this, of putting these new social mechanism in play, as well as the game currency. And so that is something that I want to work with other game publishers. So if you are in that field, definitely want to contact me and see if we can work together. Um, so um, I'll continue now with the game currency. I know that everyone's like very curious how that works. So I'm going to break it down like this. The first thing is, and this is interestingly enough, is that the tap to earn games on crypto caught on to some of these mechanics, which is interesting because I think it's sort of like the 4 minute mile, where as soon as one person does something, you have this convergence where so many people are solving for the same problem. Um, so what I do is that you don't pay for when you get into trouble, but you players are paying for every tap. So every tap that you make, there's a cost. Um, and so the you don't have the psychology where people are running into problems and then trying to spend money. You're basically telling the player, okay, you can play and we can have different levels. You want to pay for a penny a tap? No problem. You can pay for a penny a tap. You want to pay for 10 cents a tap? We can do that too. So we allow players to basically pay for every tap that they want. And then as they're playing the game, um, they will then um, pay for a certain amount of time. So maybe they tapped 100 times, they tapped 200 times. So if they paid for a penny, then they paid, then that could have been, if it's 100 taps, then that's $1. It's 200 taps, then it's $2. So now we have this point where the players are, tapping all the time. Um, and then what we do is that we allow players to tap, so you can purchase, there's two different currency systems. There's the paid version and then there's the free version. So you always have to pay, you always have to get tokens to pay, almost like the quarter analogy for video games, for the arcade game. But you can choose to pay for money, and you can pay for free. Now, where does that come into play? But if you paid for real money, right, when you win on the game, you then get rewarded with real money, but with tokens that are worth real money. Um, if you play for free, you're getting rewarded. Now we're very strict. We don't give any advantage from a game perspective. It's the same game. You don't, if you can be, people can be playing with real, people could be playing with these fake. It doesn't matter. Whatever happens, it's the same exact. Leaderboards are the same. Everything is the same. There's no advantage. But when you win the game and you're getting back rewards, you're getting back that rewards in the fake token. So it's almost as if you go into a casino and it's your first time, and you're going to say to the casino boss, whatever it is, this is my first time playing. I don't know how to play. And they tell you, you know what, we're going to give you poker chips, right? And you can play for free. And when you win, you're going to get back poker chips. But the poker chips, if you're playing for real money, you get back poker chips that are worth real money. If you're playing for the fake money, for the fake chips, you're going to get back more fake chips. So from a psychological perspective, what does that tell people? It tells people, you know, um, this is great. I won. I feel good about myself, but maybe I should have played with the real, with the real chips, and then I would have run for real. So we're aligning the alignment now, where the players and the game publishers are aligned because they both want to win. There's no advantage for the player to play with either one. It's strictly psychology. Um, if for kids and for people like that don't have money, they it doesn't matter. You can play for free, no problem at all. It's the same game. But for anyone that has money, right, that feels that their time is worth a certain amount, then they look to themselves and say, you know what, I should have played for real money. Now, what do you get for the real money? Just like you can get, premium content, premium skins. So there are things you can get for the real money that you can buy with the fake system. And that's really is the core part of the game currency, you know, patent, and that is innovation. Some of the additional things that we're doing as well is that we want to build up an ecosystem with game publishers and basically have the game currency can be portable against between games. So this will allow indie game developers to actually monetize their game and allow their game currency to be ported to another game within that ecosystem, within the Novosphere ecosystem. And this will allow and we're going to do this initially as non-digital because we don't want to have we want to do this very simple. It's going to be blockchain powered behind the scenes, but it will not be we basically won't have investors, right? Investor, that piece will not be there. The next stage is that we want to then partner with the regulators to build out a real regulated game currency from the beginning, ground up, that will allow this portability, but also allow investors to invest. And for that you need the regulators involved, because I do not want to be like the Beam coin, scam coin, game coin market, which is really the Wild West. Unfortunately, I feel that we need regulations here because it's impossible, because it's just there is no way to do this properly. Like you can't unscramble an egg. Once you have something which is not regulated, um, especially within these, you know, we'll keep Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of those coins aside because they were first, so they're able to build up and to dig themselves out of the hole. But typically, it's very, very hard. So any of these coins that are built from the beginning, um, it's very, very hard to ever fix them to make them regulated.
I know that, like, because I've there's a few people on talking about gaming, and I know that, you can use the assets in another game when you cooperate. But when you're talking about money, like, is it when they buy that the developer is taking their cut from it? So they take their 30%, 20%, whatever it is, and it doesn't matter then afterwards because it's no longer in their hands. And when the person is actually playing and somebody wins it, they're not taking money on the sale of it. Because if I was a developer and you've got 10 different ones and you can transfer it across, if you're taking money from my plate onto the guy next door, like how is that going to work? Because not everybody, it's different if it's all the same platform, they're all working together, but it looks like it's different games. But when you've got external people, they'll want to keep the money in their game.
No, that's definitely right. And this is something which is what we're doing is that we're leveraging blockchain technology to ensure that each game publisher is basically is going to be honest to ensure that the tokens that are being sold within each game that are being portable, that's being transferred to other games, all that is basically is going to be based on, the actual usage within the game. So
Kind of
it's
like a royalty system, so that if it was bought on my thing and then it's transferred across, when it's sold, the royalty automatically pays into my account. So I'm happy no matter where it goes.
exactly. So basically, right. So that portability allows every game publisher to benefit from the ecosystem, and they still will benefit from the royalties of their own game based on the usage of the game, based on any of this of the anything that they sell in the game as well. You mean in terms of premium skins and other stuff and content. So yeah, so it's going to be a very robust market that we will be introducing. And basically give, I've been speaking to a lot of, indie game developers, and their passion is in games. They really want to make fun games, and they feel like there's so much attention that they have to spend to monetize games in the way that they're not happy with, that it's really that instead of spending their time making the game more fun, they're spending their time making the game profitable. And that usually means making the game less fun. So there's a lot of people that game developers want to make games fun. They just didn't have the right tools. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give game developers the right tools to make games, much more fun and social as well. So we're having both aspects. The game currency could be used for any game, doesn't have to be a social game, but our technology that we're using to make Stack to Pixels a social game can apply to any um, you know in any puzzle type game, but it's not even limited to that. Could be applied to card games, could apply to any games, even could apply to Tetris, to any of those games as well. So it's really any 2D type, game. Could we can use our technology to make it we can turn it into a social game.
And like, I totally understand that you need to be making money when you're creating the games because it's a lot of work. There's a lot of coding. They're not the cheapest people on the block. I mean, you can go, to, Eastern countries, but the trust level and everything. So if you have to have in-house programmers, to some of them on massive figures. So like doing this freemium, you need to get a return on investment. But if we look at the other side then, because, you mentioned, you go to Vegas or whatever, or people going into the bookies. I mean, when you see somebody, there is people that get addicted to this and they spend money that they should be even paying to their family to pay for food and stuff like that. Is there any systems in place to stop the addicts from blowing every penny that they've got?
Absolutely. So basically this is not in yet, but definitely I'm gonna be building in parental controls, for children to limit their time that they can spend on the game. And that's something that will be built in, um, which is I think very important as parents, that we all limit, right? So kids, do need. I think that it's great. Parents these days are very, we used as a kid, I used to get on my bike and I used to ride around Brooklyn the whole day. My parents had no clue where I was. There was no cell phones. There was no, and I had complete freedom, and it was wonderful. And you know, me, with my bike, I can get anywhere I wanted. Go to your friend's house, go here, go there. Kids these days are much more limited. Kids these days, the parents need to know where they are at any time. Parents set up play dates. It's not like kids go out and find kids to play with. Parents have to set up, arrange, play dates with them and, you know, and, drive them over and stuff like that. So kids are not exposed to that wonderful feeling of being able to play games, with kids their age or kids from school. And there are things out there, right? There's a Minecraft, and there are other there's also Roblox, which is very popular. Those games are more like toys, and that's great. And kids can play with toys, play with blocks, play with Legos. But what kids are missing these days, there is nothing really out there, is a game like this, which is a social game that kids can play with, that kids can play with together. And there's no limit. So you can have a class of 20 kids, right? You can play all together. Um, just like going out into the playground, during recess. So this is a game they can play at home but it's competitive, right? It's a true competition, and we all thrive on competition, right? We all love competition. We all want to be the best. So I think the competition is where is something value. There's a value add there. And that's where, kids can play, stack the pixels and really get that enjoyment, that adrenaline rush from playing a competitive game with their friends, um, where they can do this after school. But I agree that everything needs to have limits, and that's something which is something that will be built in, at some point. I mean, that's going to be a good problem to have, right? Once the game is doing well and we have to limit it, that's actually a good thing. It means that we're doing things right. But that is definitely something I want to do.
I mean, I actually think it's going to take off just by looking at it and the different videos and everything. But it's like my thing is, it's great that we can control the kids, but unfortunately, adults, they act like kids, and everyone's got an addiction. And unfortunately,
Absolutely.
like, it's okay if it's a certain amount and you're not going to go above $50 a month or something like that. But if this is something that you can be putting 3 grand, people who have an addiction, unfortunately, because I have seen them,
It's
they will
true.
spend the 3 grand
Well,
and then they'll
yes.
be like bumming to try to find food for their kids.
Right. So that was one thing we do that's very important, and I'm glad you bring it up, is that we do not allow you to cash out, right? There's no cash out in terms of dollars, and we do that for a few reasons. One is from a regulatory reason, right? If we allow people to cash out, then we be considered to be a money transmitter, and we need a money transmitter license. So that's a whole nother level. Another issue is that if we allow that, it could be considered gambling, right? Because now you're allowing people to go to buy in. Now, even though we're a strategy game, but the laws are are not always very clear on these things, in this sense, and they may say, well, we may have a challenge, right? The rule is anyone can sue you for any reason, so we don't even want to be in that ballpark. The most important reason is that even if this was completely legal and we're allowed to do it, we wouldn't want to do it because this is where the crypto games go wrong. And this is why, unfortunately, is that if you allow players to cash out like you can do in crypto games, it becomes not a game anymore. It's not a game, it's work. It's literally, if you need to play a game, right, to put food on your table, right, you're not playing a game, you're working. And if you're working, it's not fun, right? No one, honestly, if you're being forced to tap on a screen all day, no matter how much fun it is, it's not fun anymore. If you're playing Candy Crush because you need, to buy food, right? It's not a game. And what's crazy is that these games disguise how much effort there is to and how little money you actually make. And this is what the tap to earn games are doing this. So you can be tapping all day long, like literally tapping for 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day if you can, be up for that long. And at the end of it, you would make, and you can be doing this for weeks, for months, and then at the end, you'll get crypto, and let's say you sell the crypto at the right time, you make maybe $100. But if you count how many hours you spend tapping, it could be you spend you're making less than $1 an hour, maybe even closer to 10 cents an hour, which is a crazy little amount of money. Now, the unfortunate thing is that there are places in the world where that actually is a lot of money. And that's sad, and that's a problem that needs to be solved. But using games to solve that problem, because what only is going to happen is that somebody in those places or in who knows that this cheap labor basically will create a new version, a new modern equivalent of a sweatshop. Call them click shops, where and this has been done, at the last crypto bull run a few years ago when the play to earn games were first getting popular. People were already forming these click shops where they were forcing women and children to tap, tap, tap all day long to make up. Now, if you're a person doing it for yourself, you're not going to make enough money. But if you're a business and you're going to force women and children to tap all day long, now you're making money in the aggregate. So now you have 100 people, 1,000 people, and yeah, maybe that's better than working in the coal mines. We're not saying that tapping is the worst thing, but you tap all day. There's a lot of things. It's not good. It's not good for the mind. It's not good for the body. And it's a shame because these days with the internet, even in places, what's wonderful about about Stack to Pixels is that we have developers all over the world. Our lead developers in South Africa, we have junior developers in Pakistan, we have game designers in India. We're a global company, and it's so sad if people can learn with the internet today and with AI. AI can teach you a lot of this stuff too. And there's no reason why these people that are tapping all day long, why they can't, learn a skill and get paid a lot more money for their time. You know, there's definitely benefits to games. I don't want people to feel that I'm anti-game at all. I'm not. I love games. I feel games, when we're overwhelmed and we have so much that we're stressed out and we have so much to do, and sometimes we can't think straight, right? We just a game can relax us, give us that dopamine release that we need to give us those easy, patterns that we can solve so we can feel, yes, I can solve problems again. I can execute. And so you can play a game for a few minutes, right? For 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then get back to your work. That's perfectly legitimate. And if you had a long, stressful day and you want to play a game at the end of the day, absolutely, you know. But we don't want, like you said, we don't want people to get addicted to games, right? We don't want people who are just like all day long playing game, game, game because they're addicted. And we will have tools for that. We did definitely once if we see that behavior, and so we have to obviously launch first and then see that type of behavior. But if we do, we definitely will build in tools to ensure that people don't do that. But because we don't allow people to cash out, hopefully the people that are gamblers will not be as addicted to a stack the pixels, um, where we where they where they're not getting back money, right? You can get back your game currency and you can do other things with it. You can buy premium content, you can do other things, but you can't, get money back. So that gambling part of it, that people want money that people are going to Las Vegas, Atlantic City gambling, those people, hopefully will not, be as addicted to a stack of pixels.
Excellent. And I know you mentioned we have to get back because I have a load of questions and stuff like that, but I'm just conscious. But there's one of the things that I came across, and we might just touch on that before we finish up. Bill of Rights, you have six number. Um, I know that one of them was ad-free gaming, which basically a lot of them is like that. You have to watch an ad, and it gets frustrating because I mean, there was times I'd put on a game, and then it's like you're watching two 30-second ads for a couple of minutes of play, and and then you're just putting it down, and it's wasting time. So you might just give us a kind of brief synopsis of your six.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so basically, yeah, I came up with this concept of a Bill of Rights, and I'm going to bring it up in front of myself just so that I don't, forget what they are. But basically, what the Bill of Rights are is that when we feel that we took a wrong detour, right? We basically forgot that we want to make games fun again. And we felt that this is something that we can do that games in general, like what are good games? So one thing is to have ad-free games, right? And so I'll go through them, and then we'll go and we'll circle back on each one. No grinding, right? We feel that grinding is, really, really bad for games.
What do you mean
Um,
by grinding?
so the grinding is basically where games make you do things again and again just to level up. It's not fun, and the fun has been, it's called grinding for a reason. And a lot of games do this because they want you to basically play the game because they want you to. The freemium model allows you to jump ahead, right? So they're trying to incentivize you to jump ahead. So you can by putting in parts of the game that's boring, they're telling you, hey, you can skip all this grinding, only if you paid. So that's really part and parcel of the freemium model. Um, so that's something which we solve, which our game which because we basically there is no grinding in the game, right? Every time you're playing the game, you're playing against, you play whatever the game you want, and you don't have to grind. Um, Play at your skill level. This is also related to games make you level up. And so if you are advanced at a game, whether you have a skill from another game that you've played or a similar game, you don't have to start at the bottom, right? Making players start at the bottom for an experienced player, like if you know how to play games well, and most kids know how to play games well, why make people level up? And again, it's another reason for them to monetize that by making them jump ahead, right? So you have to pay money to level up instead. Pay to win, which we discussed a lot, right? So basically, we're against pay to win. We feel that takes its advantage of players, and tricks them. And we're not we want to be straightforward with the players and say, hey, this is the game. It's a strategy game, and you just play the best of your ability, right? And everyone else will play at the best of their ability, and the best person will win. And that's how games should be, right? Reward early players. We feel that players that help popularize the game, that were playing early, and they should be successfully rewarded as part of that game. And then be a force for good. That's something we passionately believe in. We feel that games on so many levels are not being used effectively. And we don't want to make games boring. We're not looking to say, okay, being a force for good, that's being good does not equal to boring. It means that we can do so much more with gaming technology from in the charity space. Um, and we didn't touch upon the whole marketing piece that we have in Stack the Pixels. But basically, Stack the Pixels as a massively multiplayer game is a very effective marketing channel. And we can use that for charity as well. And we can do good. We can have a community come together and be more than just a community, right? Just be more than just about playing games. We can actually come together and do good. And that's how we feel. We feel that there's a wasted opportunity here, in terms of gaming and gaming technology. Um, so let's circle back to the ad-free games, because the reason why games, why they have ads is because the monetization is so poor. But with our monetization approach, um, there's a few things. First of all, our game currency is very powerful. And so game publishers will not need to do ads. You could still have ads as an optional thing. But it doesn't have to be required, because players can play for free, right? So there's no reason why players need to do an ad. Um, there will be What's also interesting is that the game itself is an ad. So that's another aspect where Stack the Pixels, and other games that can be built on this framework, you don't need to be intrusive. and to show players an ad when
For
you're
example, you could
literally
have a Coca-Cola can and they're putting the Coca-Cola can
exactly
together
you'd be
and Coke have
stacking
paid you and you're happy then to give a free game. So that works. That's a
exactly.
win-win
Well, it's
situation.
not even a free game. So stack the pixels, you're stacking pixels, and that pixels could be the ad with the Coke. So that could be the ad. It could be the Coke logo, could be the. So you're literally in the game assembling this ad. So you're in the ad. It's not just where is, I have to stop for a moment, watch an ad, it's intrusive and then come. No, here the game itself is the ad. You're literally in the ad. So you're immersive, you're interactive. And this is again, this is early stages. So we're very excited about the creativity that's going to be unleashed on top of this model because we feel that once once advertisers get a hold of this, it's going to be off to the races because there's so much more that you can do now from a technology standpoint in terms of ad delivery when people are your partners and assembling the ad with you together. So instead of you running away from the ad, you're literally putting the ad together. So it's a whole nother level. And so when I say, ad-free games, it's really ad intrusive ads where ads are detracting from the game versus adding to the game.
No, that makes sense because at the as we discussed earlier, I mean, you've savage costs putting this together and running it and everything. So it's not as if you can just cover this yourself. So it's a win-win. I mean, because at the end of the day, that's why they put in the ads to cover their costs, and then they're doing all these different things. So I think it's a fantastic model.
The difference is the difference between running an ad, which is on commercial break, versus doing a product placement, right? So when you're doing a product placement in the show itself, right? You're getting, almost a better benefit, right? Than because you're seeing the product being used for real. You're seeing the product being, interacted with in the show, and you're not opposed to it versus when you have that commercial break, right? Which we thought we got away from, right? With the streaming, and now it's all coming back. Um, but we take it we use it for our bio break and get some snacks. Like we're not really watching those ads, even though the ad companies think we are, but it's the same issue here. Like no one, when you're forcing something down someone's throat, they're gonna be very, very opposed to it and not enjoying it. And I personally like, you know when I see an ad, it makes me angry. I don't want to, I don't want to get that product. I'm like, no, you ruined my experience. I am not going to buy your product because I'm annoyed at you. So there's a lot of that as well. People do not want to be for the time is very valuable, as you mentioned, these days, and people do not want to share that time for something that they do not want to do 100%.
And I mean, just listening to what you're saying and how that's done, I mean, there's ways of making this work for like the people that win with the blockchain technology. For example, if it's Nike or whoever, whatever company, that the winner gets a code to get a discount of 20% or whatever off their online shop.
Absolutely,
And
yeah.
that it's a code. It's not as if somebody can just go in and take it and screenshot it.
And
It's
this
like,
is legal. What's interesting here is that we can have thematic prizes. So you can have a community coming together. Let's say there's a new Star Wars movie coming out, and everyone's really excited about this one. And there's passionate fans, and you tell them, hey, you can watch the movie trailer once you as a community stack all the pixels for the trailer, right? So now you have incentive there. And everyone's into it, and you want to get your friends and your family. Everyone has to stack the pixels together. And then you tell them, just to sweeten the pot a little bit, you tell the top 10 winners are going to get the free movie tickets to the premiere. And now you have a prize which costs the movie. It cost them nothing, right? These marketing budgets. And now you have people really, really passionate about winning the game. And what's nice here is that it's not a sweepstakes. It's not just random. It's something which is, you have to work at, but it's a fear. It's a fear game. It's strategy. There is definitely, it's not like, and you have to compete. You're competing against other people. So it makes things much more fun and exciting for everyone.
I know you have to get you back because there's so much we can go to this, and as well as you're evolving, because as you say, you're going to be learning from the experience. You might let people know where they can find you.
So yeah, so you can go to stackthepixels.com. So we have a contact form on the website. You also can reach me at novospir.com. There's a website there as well. I am Yaakov.Sash at novospir.com, also Yaakov.Sash at stackthepixels.com. Also support at novosphere.com and support at stackthepixels.com. So plenty of contact information to get a hold of me or somebody from the company. And we would love to work with you. If you're a game publisher, if you're a player, please sign up on the website. And when and that's going to be for early release. So you can be one of the first ones to play this game when it gets launched.
No, excellent. I'll make sure I put all the links both on the audio and the video. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Roy. It's been a pleasure, and I'd love to come back. There's still a ton more, but
Absolutely.
we'll see. We'll see if there's so if you enjoyed this episode, definitely let Roy know, and then he'll bring me back on for some more good stuff.
And yeah, also let me know what questions you have. So when he comes back, I'll make a list of them and we'll do it. And also comment on what we discussed. I'd like to know what your thoughts on all the different things that we've discussed. And as long as they're not abusive, they stay up. So you can find all our episodes on thecryptopodcast.org. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and share with your friends. Really helps. Until next week, take care.
Thank you.
So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. As mentioned at the start, you'll find my 6 podcasts on bio.link/podcaster. And also, if you'd like to start a podcast or do a podcasting tour, you'll find the information on that or on the QR code that's there. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, and share with your friends because it really helps. And also, I'd like to thank DanielPackard.com, helping people with fear, doubt, and anxiety. He's got a 90% success rate and he's only charging if he helps you. So be sure to check him out and you get a free call to discuss everything. Until next week, take care.